Greetings, Internet, and welcome to the show.
بتويل مثلا.
Welcome, guys, to the Raving Native Podcast. I'm your host, Rami, coming to you from our own slice of absurdist dystopia, the land where dreams go to die, at least mine did, Tunisia. First things first, I want to thank the band Kharenga Project for generously allowing me to use their music as intro for the podcast. They're a local Tunisian band and they're awesome. Please, if you're listening to this, go check out their shit on SoundCloud. I will be leaving a link to that on the description below. So, I know starting a podcast in 2021 is beyond absurd because the numbers just don't make sense. There are more than 2 million other English-speaking podcasts alone in the world. So I'm not talking about the rest of them. So basically just peeing in the ocean. Nobody cares and you're still feeling shamed about it. I wanted to make the first episode as an introduction to myself and why I decided to start the podcast and lay out the format of the show. And however, throughout the weeks of procrastination, I think the purpose of it changed a bit. It was just a selfish thing in the sense that I wanted an avenue for self-expression, and I had some creative drive that couldn't be satisfied in the context of where I live. I couldn't go out to open mics and try to do stand-up comedy in Tunisia because there are no open mics, and the stand-up is very, very limited in the sense it's strictly clean observational comedy that you write on your own, then go to television shows, basically audition those 5 minutes without working them out. That's why every time I see comedy on Tunisian television, it's beyond shitty. It's beyond bad. It stinks so fucking bad. But anyway, I refuse to do that, and even if I did the types of comedy I wanted to do, the type of comedy that makes fun of religion and power dynamics, and shit jokes and fart jokes and dick jokes, I'd be in jail long before the set airs. So yeah, it's pointless. Anyway, so my focus shifted from that, and the purpose of the show shifted from that to something a little less selfless, a little more selfless actually, excuse me. But it shifted from, hey, let me scream into the void about the shit I'm going through, living in such a backwards, stupid-ass culture, to I think I need to get my voice out there, because with the shit going on in the world right now, I found myself wishing with every fiber of my being that I had a voice, that I could speak up for people, that I could speak up against certain narratives, that I could be somewhat of a voice for the voiceless, for the less fortunate, for the powerless. And don't get me wrong, this is supposed to be a fun show. This is supposed to be a comedy podcast making fun of my absurd situations and the overwhelming absurdity that I encounter day to day living and among people who life harder for themselves and for me for no reason at all. I will explain that further. But with the shit that I've been seeing for the last few days, I was literally in tears. I felt so fucking powerless because I saw suffering, and I saw oppression, and I saw devastation, and I saw murder and destitution. I don't know if that's even a word. I saw and I saw horrible things, and I saw the maliciousness of people, the hypocrisy of liberal media, of mainstream media regarding the case of Palestine. I always had a certain, not hatred, but a certain disregard and a certain skepticism for liberal media. I always knew that they were basically two sides of the same coin, the liberals and the conservatives. But when I saw how much they twisted a simple situation, really, how shamelessly they took the side of the oppressor, of the colonizer, of the invader, of the killer, of the rapist, of the stealer, of the murderer, and being proud of it, and actually oppressing anybody that could actually try and make the case for Palestine, to try to express a counter narrative. I saw MSNBC, I saw CNN, I saw everybody from. It's like I was watching Fox News, but everywhere. And I saw people, Andrew fucking Yang, the progressive motherfucker with the universal basic income and shit, standing out with Israel. Dude, at the time of this recording, 130 Palestinian people died, 900 wounded. And you know why? Because Israel decided to evict 500 Palestinian families from their home for no reason. Why? I mean, you already had 99% of the fucking land. Leave us fucking breathe, bro. Why? It's so fucking disheartening. It's so fucking the hypocrisy that I see everywhere. France, le pays des droits de l'homme, the fucking la 5e République, the blah blah blah, all the fucking bullshit. Then that pussy ass Macron takes the side of the oppressor. The UK sells fucking arms and to Israel and sends fighter jets to fight with Israel. Like, dude, the Palestinians have nothing. They have nothing. Hamas has fucking missiles from World War II that they salvage or through fucking tunnels. What are you talking about? You guys had nuclear bombs. Israel has nuclear bombs. The hypocrisy, the pain I feel for the Palestinian people is immense. The disdain I have for humanity has never been greater, I swear. Even Arab people, my fucking people, Tunisian people, I talk to them. A lot of them are sympathetic. The overwhelming majority are sympathetic. But then I talk to well-read, very smart, very aware people. And they give me shit like, yeah, humanity has been killing itself for thousands of years. I wish they murder each other. They both murder each other and we move on. Oh, really, man? So you're so above this. I'm talking to fucking Dr. Manhattan all of a sudden. We get it, dude. The world is gonna end. Humanity's existence is absurd. There is no reason for living. God is dead. We get it. But let's not use the absurdity of the human condition to disregard the suffering of real people. I swear I didn't. I love the dude and he's my friend, and I didn't respond to him. All I said was, I'm in no place to have this debate right now, but I was so fucking outraged because what he said was so tone deaf. I knew that if he saw me because we were speaking through messages, if he saw my emotional state, if he saw my body language and how I felt, he wouldn't have said what he has said. And so I didn't really respond. But if somebody said that to me in real life, I think I would have slapped him in the fucking teeth. Probably, yeah. And I'm not a violent guy at all, but yeah, probably. I mean, babies are fucking dying as I speak, and you're telling me, yeah, humanity has been dying for millions of years, and it's all absurd, and entropy will end it all, so why bother dying now or dying later? Yeah. Fuck you, dude. If your dog died, you'd be fucking crying like a little bitch. So don't give me that you're above feelings bullshit and you're too cool to feel and you're a fucking nihilist. Stop that fucking bullshit. Yeah, you don't have enough balls to care, so you choose cowardly apathy. That's what it is. You're not better than anyone. You're not above anyone. You don't have this fucking meta perspective. No. It's all bullshit. Yeah, fuck that. I wish I could speak up for people, but at least there are some people who do. There are people like Abby Martin, people like Noam Chomsky, people like Low Key, the British rapper, people all over the world, and even people from Israeli descent, Jewish people like Natalie Portman are speaking out because they can see beyond the lies, beyond the fucking propaganda. The huge propaganda machine that Israel has. I mean, it's really disheartening. I can't express the sorrow that I feel. I'm so fucking disappointed in humanity. I mean, people in Chile, people who are going through their own shit, are speaking up and are going to protest in solidarity with Palestine, and people over here are disregarding the suffering of their fellow men. Oh my God! I swear this is supposed to be a funny show. Anyway, let's move on to something less important, but still annoying to me. As I said, I'm trying to be a comedian, and my dream is to be a comedian. So I follow comedians all over the world, and the past few days, the internet is trying to cancel Tony Hinchcliffe, who's a hilarious comedian who has the podcast Kill Tony. So this is what happened. On a small show that is not supposed to be recorded, Tony said a racist slur and trying to be funny. He said the C word regarding Asian people. Not cunt, by the way. It's the things you find in armors, actually. Usually. I'm not gonna say the word not because I'm afraid to be cancelled, nobody's gonna listen to this, but because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, and apparently people's feelings are getting hurt, so a lot of people's feelings are getting hurt because of that word, and because of what's going on in the world, in America right now, with the violence against Asian people and the hatred and the stupidity. So doing that joke was really anticlimactic and a bit tone deaf, but it is what it is. It's a joke, and he's allowed to make a joke. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He shouldn't be fired. He shouldn't be lynched for making a mistake. I mean, to try to say that Tony is a racist person or harbors hate in his heart is beyond absurd. Anybody who watches this show knows that almost nobody, has given to other comedians an avenue and the opportunity to shine than Tony did. In his show, he helped the careers of a lot of minorities, a lot of women. He tries to be as egalitarian as he can be in his show. So yeah, he makes offensive jokes, but that's what they are. It's jokes. I mean, even the people in the show were laughing. Bon, I guess the Asian comedian he was making fun of him, they didn't like it. But in comedy, there is a certain bond, a certain camaraderie. I don't know how to fucking pronounce it. That shouldn't be fucked with. You don't turn on your fellow brother, on your comrade. It's fucked up. If he said something that hurt your feelings, you don't fucking record him and release the recording and try to cancel him. You go talk to him and tell him, hey, you little weasel fuck, why did you say this? That hurt my feelings. It's a bad joke. It's in poor taste. You shouldn't do this again. And he will apologize. Tony knows that the joke wasn't clever, wasn't funny, it didn't really work. Some people laughed, but they were uncomfortable laughter. And, it's okay. Comedy is like anything else, trial and error, and that's how shit gets figured out. So to turn on your friend, on somebody you've worked with like that it's such a pussy move. You don't see it in other art forms, really. You don't see Scorsese shitting on another director, or shitting on Quentin Tarantino because his movies have a lot of violence on them, or because they said 3,000 times the N-word in Django Unchained or something. I don't know why it's specific to comedy. This scrutiny and this basically lynch mob mentality. And I really disagree with Tony on a lot of things when it comes to politics but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because what matters is context and intent. His intent was to be funny, and the context was to make fun of the previous comic who shat on white people by shitting on his ethnicity, by making fun of his ethnicity. I wish he said a slur about brown people, so as a brown person, so I could say that it's okay, that I understand the context, but I can't say that what he said wasn't offensive because it wasn't targeted at me or something I can relate to. So I guess the person had the right to be offended, but I think that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, because Tony's career is suffering. He's losing dates. He's got his agency has dropped him. I think it's fucked up, because this cancel culture is really going out of hand, and you see it because you don't see just comedians getting cancelled. You don't see people from the right getting cancelled, but you see people from the extreme left, like the YouTuber. I forgot her name. I apologize profusely. I think it's Natalie something from ContraPoints, I think, who they wanted to cancel her. And she's a trans lady. They wanted to cancel her because she had a trans man on the show, and that trans man didn't harbor progressive enough views regarding transgender people or something. It's so fucking asinine. It's so fucking out of hand. And she did an amazing video demystifying and explaining how cancel culture works, and she really makes a beautiful job of really analyzing what's good in it and what's bad, and how it's a tool to control that should be used wisely. That shouldn't be, because it's good to cancel people like Jeffrey Epstein, like Weinstein, like Bill Cosby, people who did harmful things, but to restrict the freedom of expression is a dangerous thing. And I'm not coming from this an extremely right-wing angle. No. I'm very left-wing. I'm so fucking left-wing that I consider liberals extremely right-wing. That's how fucking left-wing I am. Anyway, I hope Tony gets out of this relatively unscathed, and I hope Palestine too, but I think that's too late for that. Yeah. I went on a bit of a rant, but usually I planned out a segment on the show that is, because I'm a bit stupid. I wanted to take the opportunity of the show to learn each week, to learn something new about a subject, a few facts, and so on. The first episode was gonna be about the original people and the history of the original people of Tunisia, of North Africa, the Amazigh people. But the situation of the Palestine thing actually trumped that, and I think I'm gonna do it next time. So I wanted to talk more about this because emotionally it was paining me. Really, I wanted to have somewhat of a voice, somewhat of a notoriety, so I could reach more people, so I could give a voice to those people. But yeah, I'm sorry, it's not the case. I really feel powerless. But maybe in 10 years or 20 years I'd have enough of a voice to make a small change at least. And Palestine will be there. Palestine will be there in 10 or 20 years. It will always be there. Yeah. Existence is resistance, right? And Palestine will always exist. Even if the Israeli people are trying to erase them. They can't. You can't erase a whole idea. You can't erase an identity. You can try, but people die, ideas that won't, and the Palestinian people will never fucking surrender. They will never forget who they really are and where they came from. And I'm talking about this from I have a personal connection with the Palestinian plight because I know Palestinian people, and I've seen them suffer. I've seen their families shattered. I've seen them losing their houses, and they came, and people I loved, they lived basically 10 meters away from my house, and I saw the pain that caused by the war and the apartheid state and the invasion and whatever you want to call it. I refuse to call it a conflict because it's not a fucking conflict. It's a full-on in a colonial settler state. That's not a fucking conflict. There is nothing to be debated there. It's a fucking war. It's really the narrative that they were able to paint for people like Joe Biden and people who now parade themselves as these left-wing, as if they spoke for the common man, as if they spoke for justice. Didn't he say a few years back that if there were no Israel in the Middle East, the United States would have to build an Israel to protect its interest? Didn't that senile old fucking hair-sniffing cunt vote for the Iraq war? Didn't he cause the death of 1,000,000 fucking people? Jesus fucking Christ, the hypocrisy of liberals is beyond belief. Fuck them really. And fuck the Republicans too, because well, at least I have some respect for them, because they don't pretend to be progressive. They don't pretend to speak for the people. Of course they dabble with right-wing populism, but we both know that they're lying to us and to themselves, so at least they're not really trying to deceive us, because they know that we know. Liberals are really evil. Are really fucking evil. I mean, all you have to do is to hear the recording of Hillary defending a child rapist when she was a lawyer, and yeah, you get the whole idea, I guess. All you have to do is remember the 12th flight that her husband took with Jeffrey Epstein to his kid fucking island to know what they're all about. So yeah, what a sad, despicable world we live in. But hey, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun if you're a fan of the theater of the absurd, if you're a fan of dystopian novels, if you want to see the world burn, like my friend. Yeah. To be honest, I don't want to see the world burn, but I'm not really attached to it either, so I guess that's the end of the show. I know it's the first episode. I wish I had a co-host, as I said, so I could bounce shit off him as you have a real conversation, but maybe one day. Anyway, thanks for listening, and see you next time.